Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Good morning, everybody. It is exactly 10 o'clock, and I think we have to start quickly so that we do not waste any time and we are able to finish just within our 2 hours. Good morning, everybody, and depending on where you're listening to in any part of the world, thank God for Zoom, meaning anybody can be listening to us from America, Australia, Ghana, Nigeria, just brings us all together. You are welcome to today's webinar. My name is Linda Ochubwe, and I'm going to be your host for today for the next 2 hours. So sit back, relax, smile, and enjoy the session with me. This is our first webinar for 2025, and it is brought to you by the amazing insurance company, Coronation Insurance PLC. You can go to YouTube and watch our previous edition, but today's edition, we will be looking at beyond compliance, demystifying third-party motor insurance, the legal requirements, coverage and benefits, and the claim administration. So everything you need to understand around third party and the rules and regulations, why it is being made compulsory, and why you should have it, understanding the benefits. We are all going to be looking at that today. We promise to make sure that these 2 hours is worth your while. So it'll be from 10, and we hope that we'll end before 12. But I'm sure that you're going to learn a lot, you're going to have fun, and you're going to be happy listening to us. Today, we brought together amazing, beautiful, handsome speakers who will be telling us everything we need to understand about third-party insurance. They'll be sharing their stories, their experiences, and just making it simple for you to understand why you need to have one. First things first, it's extremely important that we look at, and talk a bit about why we are here. Coronation Insurance PLC webinar series is one very integral part of their thought leadership initiatives, where they aim at educating and engaging corporate and individual clients, explaining and demystifying things to them just to make life very easy. Now, this edition we're discussing today is Beyond Compliance, Demystifying Third-Party Motor Insurance. We'll be looking at the legal requirements, coverage and benefits, and claims and administration, just telling you everything you need to know around third-party insurance. We'll also be looking at the essential role in financial and legal protection for your cars. Now, many drivers view third-party insurance merely as something that is very compulsory in Nigeria. It's a legal requirement. You must have third-party. But we are actually going to be breaking down the benefits for you and why it is crucial that you have. Now, this webinar will provide insights into the legal framework, the coverage on advantages, the streamlined claims administration process, which of course, many Nigerians are always having headaches saying, when I make my insurance, how am I going to get my money back? They don't always answer. We are going to be breaking down that process for you, making it very seamless and easy for you to understand how to make your claims. And then we'll also be helping participants to understand how third-party insurance serves as a financial safety net and a smart risk management tool. So you know how you have problems, and somehow you always have problems when you are broke and you don't have money. You don't have to be thinking too much and stressing yourself. When you have a good insurance policy, you can go to bed and bank on them and everything will be fine. What are we going to be looking at today? We're going to be looking at how you need to understand, things you need to understand, having a third-party motor insurance, making it very clear and simple for you. Would also tell you about the legal obligations of third-party motor insurance and the risks and non-compliance, what's going to happen if you don't have one. Would also be looking at the financial and legal benefits of you having a comprehensive third-party coverage. And then, of course, we want to also look at why customers should trust and engage this process. The process is simple and it's easy. You don't have to bring so many things to explain why you need to have a claim. Once you have a good insurance company like Coronation, everything will be easy. And of course, we'll be reinforcing Coronation's insurance reputations, just talking about why you should work with us. Okay, so most times people join webinars and they're not sure what to expect, right? So today, we're breaking down things into simple ways. We're understanding, number one, the legal framework and the advantages of you having a third-party insurance. Number two, we're going to be sharing real-life cases of third-party insurance protections that individuals have had and how it was able to save them from financial losses, and of course, legal liability. We will then take step-by-step claims administration process just to help you, our customers, to be able to understand how you can navigate your settlements smoothly and easily. We will then have a dive into questions and answers, understanding the motor policies and why you need our protection. There will be the final session after the panelists have discussed. We'll take Q&A in case we skipped any question that you have in your mind and we didn't have the time to answer. We're going to answer it and make sure that it's easy. Okay, so I'll run through the program of today so that you understand how we're going to be spending our 2 hours with me. I have done the introduction already. We're then going to move into the welcome remarks where I'll be welcoming Mr. Olamide Olajolo, who is the Managing Director for Coronation Insurance PLC. After that, we'll have the keynote presentation by Mr. Akinwale Akpo. We will have our panel discussion by our amazing experts and panelists from across the world. For 40 minutes, we'll have Q&As, and of course, I will have my closing remarks that will be done by Chioma Emma Iyase. So that's what our 2 hours is going to look like. So without wasting much time, I would like to quickly invite on stage, he's already on stage already, Mr. Olamide Olajolo. He is the Managing Director for Coronation Insurance PLC. He will take us for the welcome remarks. He has 5 minutes, and then we'll dive in. Everyone, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I know how busy we are in this city of Lagos from one meeting to the other, but you have taken out your time to spend it with us. We appreciate you and we are grateful. But we promise you that these 2 hours will be worth your while and it will be one that you will never forget. Thank you everyone for joining in, and I welcome Mr. Olamide. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Linda. That was a wonderful introduction. I don't think I would have even done better as an insurance practitioner. Thank you very much. So I'll quickly go to my opening remark. Okay. So good morning, distinguished guests. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar themed Beyond Compliance, Demystify Third-Party Motor Insurance, Legal Requirements, Coverage and Benefits, and the Claim Administration. My name is Olamide Olajolo. I'm the CEO of Coronation Insurance PLC, and I'm delighted to have you all join us for this insightful discussion. At Coronation Insurance, we are committed to fostering awareness and understanding of insurance as a critical tool for financial security. As regulations in Nigeria continue to evolve, third-party motor insurance has shifted from an option to a legal necessity. Even though it has always been a legal requirement to have a third-party motor insurance before putting your vehicles on the road. Now, with stricter enforcement in place, it is crucial for individuals and businesses to understand its significance, the benefits, and the protection it provides. So beyond meeting legal obligations, third-party motor insurance plays a crucial role in safeguarding lives, assets, and financial stability. It ensures that individuals and businesses are protected from unexpected liabilities arising from road accidents, offering peace of mind in an ever-increasing complex and dynamic environment. This webinar is part of our ongoing thought leadership initiatives aimed at providing practical knowledge and expert insights into insurance practices. We have assembled a panel, a distinguished panel of diverse professionals carefully chosen from different sectors to break down the key aspects of third-party motor insurance, scope of cover, benefits accruing from purchasing a third-party motor insurance, process and ease of lodging claims and payments, and of course, the consequences of not having a valid third-party motor insurance. Our discussion will be expertly guided by our moderator, Linda, whose expertise will ensure an engaging and informative section. So I encourage you all to actively participate, ask questions, and take full advantage of the insights shared today. By the end of this section, we hope to equip you with knowledge needed to navigate third-party motor insurance confidently, ensuring compliance while maximizing its benefits. So thank you all for joining us. I look forward to a meaningful and enlightening discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Mr. Olamide. You have done perfectly well. Thank you for making me feel very good as your good moderator. Read up a lot of things just to make sure that I am on point and I really understand. I don't know everything, but I'm sure I had to read up a bit to know some things, and I'm going to be learning more from amazing experts that are on this panel today. You never know enough. Every day is a new day to learn. Thank you for having me, Salamide. Okay, so before I bring on board our keynote speaker, who we're going to give 20 minutes to, he's going to be taking us on his keynote presentation. I wanted to share a story just to ease up things a bit and just make people smile and relax. Remember, we're talking about insurance and the importance and the benefits for all. So a few years ago, when I just arrived in the UK for my master's, coming from Nigeria where everybody's always fighting. So there was an accident that occurred. I think it was on the motorway. I think it was M21 or M25. So when the accident occurred, so the guy hits the other guy from the back. And in Nigeria, you always hear, when you hear the things like, you don't hit my car, everyone is, what's happening? You're expecting people to come down and start fighting and exchanging blows. But the guy came down from his car, went to the other guy, him very nicely with a smile like mine. Hi, good morning, how are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. And the guy was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I hope nothing happened to you. He said, good. So, oh, my name is, he told him his name. I couldn't hear that from my car. So he exchanged his card, said, this is my card, this is my insurance company. Can I have your card and your number and your insurance company? They'll reach out to you and they'll fix everything. Oh, thank you so much. It was nice seeing you, nice meeting you. Take care, bye. And I was like, no fighting, no blow exchange, no quarrel, no insults, just like that. I'm like, things are really happening. But it opened my mind to understand the fact that when people are more enlightened and more educated and understand that they can bank on their insurance, there's no need to fight. And I think those are the things we're going to be explaining to Nigerians today, that you don't have to fight when you have an insurance policy. You just need to understand what coverage you have and how you can reach them, and they will help you out. So that's the things we're going to discuss today. So I hope some people here will learn that you don't need to fight anyone when there's an accident. Just call your insurance company and they'll be here. Without wasting much time, our keynote speaker is no one but Mr. Akinwale Aku. He is the CSP Nigerian Police Force. Now, Akinwale Akpo is currently a Chief Superintendent of Police and Commander of the Special Protection Unit of the Nigerian Police Base for Makurdi, Benue State. He attended the Nigerian Police Academy in Kano State, where he completed his cadet officer training. He's currently under security, conflict, peace building at Benue State University and holds a Bachelor of Science in economics from the University of Ado-Ekiti with a diploma in computer application and data processing. His career spans over 20 years with a diverse background that includes roles such as divisional crime officer and staff officer in the 4th Order A Department. His extensive experience in law enforcement is complemented by his expertise in crisis zone deployments, crime investigation, and local combat training, for which he attended a combat operation training course at the mobile training camp in Goza, Maiduguri. Additionally, he has held roles in marketing and finance, including positions as a marketing executive for Omega Bank and assistant pay officer for the Nigerian Police Force, enhancing his multifaceted skill set. His career in security operations demonstrates a strong commitment to peacekeeping and resource distribution, particularly in conflict zones. I really don't think there's anyone better to have today to discuss what we'll be talking about other than our keynote speaker, Mr. Akinwale Abu. I know that we are far away and we can't really put our hands together, but just to be sure that I have real people here, you can put your hands together and act like you're clapping as we welcome him on stage. Mr. Akinwale,
Yeah, me too. Is muted.
Akiwale, please, can you unmute your mic? And you have 20 minutes. Let's see if I can find it. Please unmute your mic. And please, for others listening, please, you can mute your mic. Accept
Okay.
it. Thank
Good
you.
morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Morning. Yes, we can, Mr. Akiwale.
Good morning, we can hear you.
We can hear
All
you.
right. Linda, nice to see you. Olamide, nice to see you. You're looking good.
Thank you.
And I'm so honored to be among this platform this morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
My name is CSP Akapo Akinwale. Linda, the meaning of Akapo is treasurer. Akapo.
Really? So that means you have plenty money to share.
So Akapo is AKAPPO. It means treasurer.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure we're going to get some money after this.
Plenty money. This topic, it's a very, very good topic. And one thing that we all need in the society as a whole is education and enlightenment. When people are well educated about things and they're well enlightened, we have less crime, we have less issues to combat with. Those two things are very germane in every society: enlightenment and education. It creates a space for people to really know how to live better in a society. And this topic is very, very germane at this time, because as a keynote speaker, you are giving me the mandate to speak more about the legal implications and the enforcement procedure of this topic. And I will say that this third motor insurance is an insurance policy that covers the insurance liability for death, injury to any third party, and loss or damage to the third party property in the event of accident. It is designed to protect other drivers on the road in the event that they are involved in a car accident. The major difference between the first party insurance and the third party insurance is that the first party insurance covers the damages or loss caused to the policy holder or his vehicle. It also covers the damages sustained during the riot, strike, earthquakes, flood, fire, and theft, etc. Third party insurance covers damages or losses caused only on the third party due to the accident. In other words, third party insurance will never pay for damage to your car, although if your car is damaged by another driver, and insurance policy will pay out. Now, that's a little explanation about the third-party insurance. Now, let's go to the legal implications when we have all these scenarios that have played out on third-party. Let's go to the legal implication. Third-party insurance is not just a legal requirement in Nigeria, okay? It is an essential safeguard for motorists and accident victims. It is being governed by the Motor Vehicle Insurance Act and other relevant laws. It ensures financial protection from road accidents. In 2025, the Nigerian police announced a nationwide enforcement drive emphasizing compliance with the third-party insurance. This moves aims to reduce the numbers of uninsured vehicles on the road and enhance safety standards. And I think at this note, it is pertinent to note that there are the Nigerian police force is the first enforcement agency regarding a whole lot of things in Nigeria. I had opportunity to discuss with a VIO director in Abuja. And he told me point blank that it's not their duty on anything third-party insurance. But I now asked him that I noticed that people loiter around your officer and they go, he said, actually it's not in their mandate as VIO on third-party insurance. That majorly what the Nigerian police force are doing is not out of place to enforce it. Moving on. The Third Party Insurance Act and Section 68 of the Nigerian Insurance Act 2003 mandates that all vehicles operating on the road must have a valid third-party insurance. Penalties for non-compliance include fines, offenders face financial penalties, vehicle impoundment, uninsured vehicles may be confiscated. Criminal prosecution, defaulters may face legal action and possibly jail time. Now, there's a saying that where there is no law, where there is no law, there is no sin. And so there are penalties if you flout all these laws. And it's good enough that we are allowing the society to know that there are templates for us to follow.
I am so sorry. I think his network is having some issues. Please just bear with us, and then I'll try and see, make sure that he comes back on. Okay, so while we wait for him, I think he's having network issues. Rather than just be quiet, I've asked that they inform him about the network. I know that we're going to have a poll after the keynote speaker. Then we will then go into the discussion by our panelists. But while we wait for him, just to save us some time, rather than us being very quiet, I will just see if I can read briefly some of the report that's coming up. Okay, so I was hoping that I could read briefly the profiles of our panelists just to prepare them ahead so that when it's time, I can just introduce them and then we can just start. So we just don't have the break in transmission. Okay, so we have a poll on the screen. So if you're logged in from anywhere you are in the world, you can see this clearly on your screen. And we just want to find out some information to just know how to serve you better. So the first question is, how did you get your current motor insurance? And you can only take one option. You can't take two, please, so take notes. So number one, bought it myself. Number two, is our keynote speaker back? Okay, number two, my car dealer handled it.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry for that. It's the network around in Benue, in Makurdi. Sorry.
Sorry. Welcome, sir. Okay, so we're just taking a poll to buy time. So if you give us 2 minutes, so we can have you back on and then we'll finish up. We just want them to be like a quiet timing.
I should just pick one.
Okay.
I think he's.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, let him speak on, please. Let him speak on, so that because he's having problem with his network.
You can go on, sir.
Please
We
go
can
on,
hear
Mr.
you now.
Akapo.
So we've taken the poll up this week.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Linda, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you. Can you, Mr. Akapo?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay, can I go on now?
Please go on. Please go on. Please go on.
Okay, so we are on the. Okay, I'm on the enforcement directive by the Nigerian police, and the second point is that real-time verification. Automated systems are to be emplaced to identify fake or expired policies. Penalties for defaulters. Defaulter risk fines, impoundment of vehicles or prosecution. The above initiative underscores government commitment to road safety and financial protection for accident victims all over the country. Now, the enforcement procedure. The first step is understanding how a third-party insurance cover works, is to take note of the terminologies involved. Some of the commonly used terms associated with third-party covers includes first party, which means policyholder or person who has purchased an insurance policy. Second party, insurer or insurance company. That's the meaning. Third party, claimant or person who raises a claim for damages caused by the first party. If the policyholder is involved in an accident with a third party, then the policyholder is liable to pay for damages or injuries caused by an accident that take place. The policyholder must inform the insurance company at the earliest and appraise them of the situation. Also, it is essential that information is gathered regarding the accident and provided to the insurer with the following details. Let's take note. Description of an accident along with date and time. Very important. Details of insurance and policyholder present during the accident. Described injuries sustained by driver, passengers, or to the property or vehicle damage. Details of witness is very, very important also. Weather and visibility condition at the time of the accident. Photograph of evidence collected from the accident site in the case of police inquiry. Furnish details of insurance company and make a note of the first information report, FIR, number. If applicable, if the accident was not due to the policyholder, then the claimant can raise a claim for the cost of hiring a motor vehicle, repair cost, and injury compensation as per the conditions stated in insurance company documents. Now, gradually, we have been able to explain in details some of our mandates and procedure and legal claims on insurance policy. The mandates given to police and the enforcement. But now we are now going down to the legal claim procedure in this event that we are discussing about. To get compensation from the insurance company, the policyholder must comply with the claims rules. Therefore, the process to claim the third-party insurance involves the following steps. 1, first and foremost, the policyholder must inform the insurance company about the accident within the stipulated time as mentioned in the policy document. 2, the policyholder must file an FIR, first information report, at the nearest police station from the spot of the accident and get a copy of the same. Then 3rd, file a claim with the lender, fill the form, comply with the necessary documents requirements. 4, following the claim file, the insurance will send a surveyor to assess the damage and verify the estimate cost. Post-assessment, and the surveyor files a report. Based on the report, the insurance settles the claim. So that's that about the legal claim procedure. Now let's talk about exclusion of the third-party insurance plan. The third-party insurance plan does not provide any compensation if this happens. If the accident was caused due to drunken while driving, the driver is underage or was found guilty of driving without a valid driver's license. The accident was a deliberate act. The vehicle, if the vehicle was used for any commercial purpose or illegal activity. If the vehicle was stolen, as at the time it was involved in the accident. Now, how do we get the third-party insurance? The process of obtaining third-party insurance has been simple. 1, choose a license insured regulated by the National Insurance Commission, NICOM. 2, provide required vehicle details, including registration documents. 3, pay the premium between 5,000 to 15,000 annually. 4, collect and store your insurance certificate for verification. Now, what are the benefits of third-party insurance? Compliance, 1, financial security, 2, and peace of mind. Now, for compliance, securing insurance helps avoid fine and ensures your vehicle is roadworthy. On financial security, it protects third party and reduces your liability in accident situations. Now, for peace of mind, it allows you to drive confidently, knowing that you meet legal and ethical obligations. Now, in all this, as I've said earlier, when somebody knows what is expected of him, the person will be a less victim in the society. And education, like I said, is a very keynote thing for every one of us in the society, in the urban or in the rural area. That's how, when we go outside the country, we see that a lot of things are in place. The society there, they are not angels, they are not magicians. What they do simply is that they have discipline, they have rules and regulation, they enlighten the society, and they set the standard that once you break the law, you get punished with it. In Nigeria, past in the years, we have a situation where, when we were in the time of then, even little children, they obey the rules and regulation in Nigeria. Adults do. They dare not drop refuse or stain, the ground. When you get to, public places, you line up. So we can get it right in Nigeria also, if we are law-abiding citizens. And this that we are discussing is very important because it involves lives. People on the road, you are not the only road user. So it's very pertinent for us to know this. And I'm appreciating your company for doing this. In conclusion, the Nigerian police renewed enforcement of the third-party insurance law is a significant step towards ensuring accountability and the road safety. Beyond compliance, this insurance ensures fairness and financial protection for accident victims. Thank you very much.
Just asking myself what I'm going to do without you, Mr. Kimale. You were extremely brilliant, spot on, and you kept to time. I need to do another round of applause for you. Thank you. Thank you so much for helping us work with time. And you broke things down into very simple layman terms. Like, I didn't even know there was something called first party. So you talked about first party, second party, third party. The one that I'm very used to is the comprehensive insurance, because I don't want story. I don't want to
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
it was so easy, so once you just know third party and comprehensive, which means I'm covered and it's covered, which is, peace. But I think the more webinars we have like this, and the engagement and enlightenment and education, people begin to understand that insurance is not just regulation. Insurance is good for you and it will help you. There were three key things you mentioned, which I will want people to take away and not forget, which is number 1, compliance, number 2, financial security, and number 3, peace of mind. I think the most important thing for me in this my life is peace of mind. Because once you have peace of mind, you just see that you're living okay, you're not sick, because you just know that everything is covered by insurance, you're not having to pray 10 times more and be crying when something happens. You just call your insurance company and everything will be fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Akinwale, for doing perfect justice to this topic. It's a privilege and an honor to have someone with such experience and knowledge base talk to us today. I do not take it for granted. I will always cherish this amazing time I'm having with amazing speakers because I don't get to have this all the time. Maybe this will be once in 5 years, something. But thank you so much. Okay, so without wasting much time, because we're actually really on time and on point, which means we're going to end at the perfect time. We're going to then finish up our poll. So please put back the poll if you still need people to answer. While we're doing that, for the next 2 minutes, I will introduce my amazing panelists from everywhere across the world. I really enjoy Zoom because Zoom just allows you to do so much. Okay, so I'm also going to vote myself too. So please take part in the poll. We just want to know, how you got your current motor insurance. What do you think third-party motor insurance covers? And of course, how you ever had to file for an insurance claim. Was it easy? Was it good? We want to be able to do that. Okay, so I have already introduced my keynote speaker. He's also going to be staying back. He's going to be on the panel with us for the next 14 minutes discussing this topic that we are here to discuss today. He's also going to stay with us and take questions and answers. So if you do have questions, please feel free to put down your questions in the chat box and I will take as many as I can before we end. Okay, so my first panelist I'm introducing today is Mr. Uko O. Uko. He is CRC Unit Commander for FRSC. His profile is really long, so I'm going to be taking a brief version if he doesn't mind. So he's the Chief Road Commander. Uko O. Uko is a seasoned officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps with a distinguished career spanning over 25 years in road traffic management in Nigeria. His wealth of experience encompasses various roles, including patrol operation, public education, and administrative support as a personal assistant to senior officers. With a deep passion for safety and discipline, he also served as the officer commanding OC drill at the prestigious FRSC training institution, where he played a pivotal role in shaping the next generation of officers. He's currently serving as the unit commander of FRSC Isolo, one of the key commands in Lagos State. Uko continues to lead with excellence, fostering efficiency, discipline, and innovation in road traffic management. His leadership ensures that his unit not only enforces road safety regulations, but also educates and empowers road users, reinforcing the Corps' mission to create a safer motoring environment for all Nigerians. Next on my list, I will be welcoming my amazing speaker, Mr. Charles Oyabu. He's the head retail claims Coronation Insurance ELC. Charles Oyabu is a seasoned insurance professional with over a decade of experience in claims administration, risk management, risk survey inspection. As the head of retail claims at Coronation Insurance PLC, he oversees claims processing from notification to settlement, ensuring prompt and fair indemnity in line with the industry's best practices. His expertise spans technical claim resolution, risk mitigation, salvage recovery, and of course, prorogation, where he plays a strategic role in enhancing underwriting and reinsurance efficiency. Charles holds a master's degree in risk management and insurance and a bachelor's degree in accounting from Lagos State University. Charles remains dedicated to ensuring seamless claim administration while delivering value-driven solutions in the financial and insurance industry. Thank you very much for being on the panel. You are welcome, Mr. Charles. Next on my list is my amazing female panelist for today. I will be welcoming Mary Ann Momo Ige. She is the government relations specialist for InDrive Africa. Mary Ann Momo Ige is a seasoned legal expert with a distinguished career navigating Africa's complex legal landscape. Armed with a Master's of Laws in International Business Law from the University of London, she has honored her expertise in legal advisory, regulation, compliance, public policy, and government relations. Mary Ann has delivered strategic legal solutions across legal firms, nonprofit organizations, government regulatory agencies, and tech startups. Mary Ann's career is marked with her ability to navigate complex legal and regulatory environments, drive compliance, and foster collaboration among stakeholders. Her commitment to excellence and strategic thinking has made her a trusted advisor in both the public and private sectors, contributing to the growth and success of the organization that she serves. You are welcome to the panel, Mary Ann. Next on my list is Mr. Felix Boateng, Head Underwriting Coronation Insurance Ghana. You are welcome to our session. Felix Boateng Manu is the Head of Underwriting at Coronation Insurance Ghana Limited, bringing over a decade of experience in the insurance sector. He's an associate of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana and holds a diploma in insurance from the Chartered Insurance Institute, United Kingdom, as well as a BA in Economics and Entrepreneurship from the University of Sport Development Studies. He is also a member of the Young Insurance Professionals of Africa, YIPPS. Felix previously worked with Allianz Insurance Ghana Company Limited and Quality Insurance Company, where he gained extensive experience in underwriting, portfolio management, risk assessment, inspection, and sales. His expertise has been instrumental in redefining underwriting strategies at Coronation Ghana, driving profitability and fostering sustainable business growth. So good to have you on the panel with us, Mr. Felix. Thank you for being here. And last on my list, okay, so that's my last panelist. Of course, I don't really know if I have to introduce myself. My name is Linda Chwerk. I'm the Digital Sales Manager for Business Day. I handle online and sales and TV programs for Business Day, and I'll be your amazing host from now till 12 o'clock. We're halfway gone, and we have an hour to go. So make sure you stay with me, and feel free to ask any questions in the chat box. I will take all the questions at the end, and I'll try and take as much as possible. If not, we'll continue the conversations via mail and on social media. If you do want to have more information about what we do not forget to follow us at Coronation Group, Coronation Insurance, or at Coronation Insurance Ghana. Okay, so we're going to have about 5 minutes each for each of my panelists to just talk about the topic for today. And after that, we'll take some questions from my end, and then we'll take questions from the audience if that's perfect by you. Remember, we are talking about beyond compliance, demystifying third-party motor insurance, legal requirements, coverage, and the benefits, not forgetting also claim administration. Our keynote speaker did justice to the topic, explaining and breaking down everything you need to know and understand about insurance, from first party to second party to third party, knowing why it's important and why you need to take insurance to have peace of mind. You can always watch the replay later on YouTube if you missed that and you're just joining in. Okay, so I think it's time to start. If it's okay, we can take the poll out if everyone has answered the question, just to give us an overview of what they think and how they actually were able to acquire their insurance policy. Is that okay? So I will be starting with, we've already had a keynote speaker, so I think I will just go right to him during the question section. So if we're ready, my first speaker will definitely be Mr. Uko Oko. Would you want to start the introduction and just talk about the topic for 5 minutes, if that's fine by you? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on the program this morning. It's amazing. Everything that has been said by the keynote speaker. I think he's done so wonderfully well. And I also appreciate Coronation organization company. Section 68 of the Insurance Act states that all vehicles on public roads must have third-party insurance, which protects the owner of the vehicle, the insurer, from being held liable for damages to third-party vehicles. So I think we'll take that as a baseline and then we go from there. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you. That's fine. Okay, so I wanted each of the panelists to just talk briefly for like 2-3 minutes. So if that's okay by you, I'm going to move to Mr. Child, except you have something else to add. Is that fine, Mr. Oko?
Okay, yes. You can go ahead with some of the person, except you have questions, then I could take them on.
That's fine. So each panelist has about 5 minutes to just talk about the topic, whether it's an experience or a story, just something that people can relate to. And once we're done with the speakers, I will then start with the questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Oko.
All right. So, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I think the issue of insurance, vehicle insurance and third-party insurance, it's one area that most Nigerians, most motorists are actually ignorant of. And then there's a lot of apathy, there's a lot of prejudice when it comes to third-party insurance, because there's this wrong notion that insurance doesn't work. When in actual sense, from experience and research, we've discovered that most persons patronize the wrong or not accredited insurance companies. So when things go wrong, where it relates to road traffic crashes, they find it difficult to file in for claims. Recently, we had a case of a road traffic crash, and the person was like, okay, let's exchange policies. And at the end of the day, it was discovered that the third party who was supposed to be taken care of, the other man, the person who the insured, was insured with, will I say, a fake or non-accredited insurance company. So that was a problem. So I think this is a wake-up call for all Nigerians and all motorists to actually ensure that they go through, maybe patronize duly accredited insurance companies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to quickly have Charles. Charles, you have 2 minutes to just talk about the topic, and if you have any story, then I will go into some of my questions from the whole discussions that we are having.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. I hope you can hear me. Am I audible?
Yes,
okay.
We can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You've been doing a wonderful job. So
Thank you.
I will take my quick speech from the title of the webinar itself, Demystifying Third-Party Insurance, and then my keyword there will be beyond compliance. So the keynote speaker had highlighted the legal consequences of not having a third-party insurance. So we are looking at beyond compliance. What do you stand to gain from having a third-party insurance? And then beyond what the keynote speaker had highlighted, the customer stands to gain peace of mind. So knowing fully well that you're driving on the road, we know mistakes happen, error happens everywhere. So knowing fully well that you're covered with a reputable insurance company as Coronation, one can drive with that peace of mind, knowing that when the event occurs, you don't have to run away and thereby risk your life to greater harm, so to speak. You don't have to start speaking stories, so to speak. You have the peace of mind that comes with buying a genuine insurance, and in this case, a third-party motor insurance. And might I mention that the third-party motor insurance, yes, we are talking about it now because the police has come out with a wider laws now to ensure that third parties insurance are bought, but it is just the basic form of insurance that is available for a motor driver. The The bigger one that has greater cover is the comprehensive. And I advise everyone to get the comprehensive cover. But back to our discussion beyond compliance. So like I said, it's not just about the consequences of not having third-party insurance. We should also look at the benefits, and which is why we're here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. You've done so well. I'm really very grateful. Thank you. So without wasting much time, Mary, if you are here, you have 2 minutes to just introduce yourself or share a story or talk about the topic if you're fine. Is Mary here?
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you for having me. So yeah, third-party motor insurance. It sounds like a new topic to many of us, but in the course of doing my research for this webinar, it turned out that this law has always been in existence. And as a lawyer, we always say things like, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. The Third-Party Motor Insurance Act is as old as 1950. And that's when this requirement became legal. And then it was now backed up by the Insurance Act of 2003, which now criminalizes the absence of this insurance. And I will go further from what our keynote speaker said. Subsection 3 of Section 68 of the Insurance Act of 2003 provides the specific penalties for not having this insurance, and that is 250,000 naira fine or 1 year imprisonment or both. And when you think about how how negligible the sum is that you pay for third-party insurance, and then you think about how huge the penalties could be, you would see that it's very important for you to be in compliance with this. And for many of us, having third-party insurance has just been something like, oh, let's just ensure that our car papers are complete so we don't have any issues on the road. But we've not actually been able to tap into the benefits. And the law says that the minimum coverage that the insurer should provide is at least 1 million. And many of our insurance companies even provide as high as 3 million. But in spite of that, many of us get into motor accidents, myself inclusive. And in the course of the accident, you're paying out of pocket, despite the fact that you have this third-party insurance, because you're ignorant of the protection that's available to you under the law. So I really want to commend Coronation Insurance for this very enlightening sessions, because it's an eye-opener to many of us, including myself that's a lawyer, of the benefits and the protections available to me. And it's also a good opportunity to sensitize the public, and we'll do more as ride-hailing companies as well to educate our drivers on the importance of having this. InDrive is passionate about engaging with regulators and policymakers to foster industry-wide improvements. And so we're very grateful for this opportunity to be here and to contribute to this conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I'm really very grateful. Thank you, Mary. Mr. Felix, you have a vast knowledge around underwriting and insurance, and of course, bringing your wealth of knowledge from Ghana. I would really like to find out, how do the legal requirements, coverage, and enforcement of the third-party motor insurance in Ghana differ from the ones we have in Nigeria? Is there anything you can highlight to just make us understand if there's a difference or if it's the same, the rules and the regulations, and how we can go in while we talk about each other? Thank you, Mr. Felix. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Linda. Thank you for the opportunity. In terms of the legal requirement and enforcement of the motor third-party policy, in Ghana and Nigeria, we have similar legal requirements, just that the acts that is being governed are different. In Ghana, we have the Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act, 1958, subsection 42, which governs the motor insurance third-party policies. We also have the National Insurance Act, that's the Act 2006, which was amended lastly in 2001. That's the Motor Act, which now governs the regulations of motor third-party insurance. The motor traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service are the main enforcers of the motor third party policy. So basically in Ghana, these are some of the regulations around it and the enforcement that we have. In general, I think the purpose or the compulsory aspect of motor third party insurance is for us to have protection for one, the passengers in the car, two, pedestrians, and three, other road users. So this is where the law comes in so that these people will be protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. Thank you for doing justice to that question. So in the course of the whole introduction, I have been asking myself some questions that I don't have answers to. So I will call people and ask them the questions that some people have also sent in. So I would like to start with Mr. Akinwale, if he's still here. You talked a lot and you discussed and you really made it very clear for us to understand all the levels of party insurance from first, second, and third. Now, I would like to find out, what role does the police actually play in ensuring that this third-party motor insurance is activated in road accident cases? Now, especially when the offender is clearly identified. The question is for Mr. Akinwale. Is Mr. Akinwale here? Okay. Okay, if he's not here, maybe network issues. I will jump to my next panelist. Okay, so for Mr. Uko.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you, sir. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. That question has to do with our level of enforcement compliance. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay. And
yes, we can hear you.
That which the Nigerian police force is doing, kicking off from the recent, introduction of this third-party insurance on the in the society. The first thing, like the question you asked in answer to it, is that there is a daily routine check on these documents and in a real-time verification whether what they have is genuine or fake. And then there are penalties, for defaulters. So these are measures the Nigerian police force have put in place to ascertain, to make sure that, there is a third-party enforcement, third-party insurance is being complied with in the society.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for bringing justice to that person. So I'm going to go quickly to Mr. Uko. Now, beyond regulatory compliance, what are some key benefits of third-party motor insurance that motorists are often unaware of? Can you list a few for us, please?
All right. Thank you very much. Most Nigerians in driving are unaware of their rights and privileges on the road. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can, sir.
All right, so some of the benefits of third-party insurance to drivers include it covers crash liability of an insured victim in the other party's vehicle, that is during post-crash. All bills incurred in maybe sustaining the lives or treating the victim will be paid by the insurance company. And then secondly, in the case of death, maybe the crash was a fatal crash, someone died, the death liability would also be taken care of by the insurance company. That's only by not the driver of the occupant of the insured vehicle, but the third party. That covers what happens to the third party, and then the third party's vehicle and occupants. Thirdly, it also covers liability on the damaged vehicles of the third party. But what you see, because of ignorance and lack of knowledge, when there's a crash, vehicles hit themselves on the road, people end up in fisticuffs, arguing and quarreling and fighting on the road without actually knowing that they have rights with regards to the policy their vehicles are covered with in the third-party insurance. So these are some of the benefits of the third-party insurance to drivers.
Thank you very much, sir. So you mentioned something that is just always so fixed in Nigeria, and I really don't understand why, there's an accident, and rather than two parties coming out to check if they are okay and how to solve, the first thing they start doing is fighting. And it's just reflex. You just see people exchange, and I'm wondering, but you have an insurance. Why are you not calling your insurance company and just settling it amicably like matured, educated adults? Why do you have to fight when you have paid for something and there's a backup? And it just brings us down to the fact that most people are not aware. They're not enlightened. And which brings me to my second question for you quickly. Now, what are the penalties or the enforcement strategies, that FRSC has put in place to ensure that this third-party motor insurance is not just a legal requirement, but actually something that will be utilized in case of any mishap or any accident? Now, how can FRSC collaborate with the insurance and the police to streamline the claim process for victims, just in the whole light of education and enlightenment?
All right, thank you very much. With regards to the first part of your question, talking about ensuring that it's not just a document, a legal document, FRSC as a lead agency in traffic management collaborates with the state government to organize mobile courts. During these mobile courts, there are targeted offenses, and one of such is the motor vehicle insurance policy. And at such mobile court operations, people or drivers who are seen to be driving or plying the road with expired or suspected fake policies are brought before the magistrate, who convicts them and ensures that before their vehicle is released from impoundment, the motorists are made to take out a policy, a third-party policy that covers the vehicle. Beyond that, also, we have a unit called the Public Enlightenment Unit that interfaces with motorists at various levels, also using the mass media to educate them and enlighten them about the importance of the third-party insurance, and to understand that there is also a procedure for filling out claims so that people don't get to hit themselves on the road and create issues that are unnecessary, are unwarranted, unwanted when issues of crashes happen. Because Nigerians are usually like, oh, no, you fix my car. No, you are at fault. You are not at fault. When actually what they should have done is exchange policies, and then the companies such as Coronation will do justice to it. I really appreciate what Coronation Insurance Company is doing in this light. Now, talking about how we collaborate with the Nigerian police to ensure that the process is seamless. We have a good synergy with the Nigerian police. Everywhere you see the FRSC, you will always have interface with the police stations, the DPOs around, whether even it's at the state level, that usually happens. Now, when there is a crash, our rescue team arrives at the scene, and then maybe they do their sketches, crash sketches. We usually involve the police for further investigation, and then to ascertain who is at fault and all that. And then we check their policies, the third-party insurance they are holding. The FRSC e-tablet has an app that could help us check. And for such situations, we usually hand them over to the police for those whose policies are fake, or those who have expired policies, or those who don't have at all. Some Nigerians drive for months. Some we have seen cases of people driving for years without an insurance policy. So when we have such situations, we usually hand them over to the police for investigation and possible prosecution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oko. Thank you for breaking that down clearly, and we're grateful. I'm going to be jumping on quickly to Mr. Charles if he's ready. It's very important that you also just try to help us walk through the Coronation Insurance approach to handling third-party motor insurance claims and how it ensures that it's a very seamless, smooth, easy experience for your policyholders. Is that something you can handle for us? Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Linda. So at Coronation Insurance, we try to make every claim process as simple, easy, and convenient as possible. So we also try and make it seamless and convenient. And that is one of the drivers that led to the initiative behind the digital claims portal. So to circumvent the hassle of form filling and the whatnots of the traditional insurance companies, we have a platform where claimants can lodge their claims from end to end, and then you can have your claims paid without having to fill any physical paper form. So my point here is at Coronation Insurance, we ensure that our customers have the best and easy processing of their claims when they occur. And it's the same thing with third-party products. When there's a third-party claims, we know the peculiarities that can surround third-party claims when they occur. I mean, I imagine when one of our insured damages somebody else's property, I imagine the pressure that the other person will put in on our insured. So we ensure that the process is fast, speedy, and then we ensure that the reimbursement or the indemnification in this case is accurate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. It's amazing to just understand that this process can be very simple, easy, and seamless, and we don't have to break the bank to just get what we need. Thank you very much. I'm going to jump on quickly to Mary Ann. Okay, so based on your experience, and from a legal and policy standpoint, why do many drivers perceive third-party motor insurance as just another administrative requirement rather than a very critical protection tool, which of course should benefit them? What can be done to shift their mindset from where they are to the right things that are the normal in so many advanced developed countries? The question is for Marianne, if you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. So first of all, I think the reason that many drivers view third-party motor insurance as just a bureaucratic requirement rather than a valuable tool is the lack of awareness. Many of them are not even aware of the fact that this is a mandatory legal requirement and not just one of those things that would be nice to have. So that's the very first thing. They are not aware about the legal requirements. Secondly, they are not even aware of the implications of not having this insurance. So first of all, the financial implications of being personally liable in the case of an accident, because ride-hailing drivers generally are classified as independent contractors. They are not covered by any company insurance policy or corporate insurance cover. So they have to take personal liability for anything that happens to them in the course of taking a trip. The company will not be held personally liable. So they are not even aware of the financial burden that they could incur by not having this protection. And then another reason also is just the natural human nature to be selfish. When you think about the fact that third-party insurance doesn't protect you, but the third party, it's like, oh, why am I doing this? Because it's not protecting my car. What's the likelihood that in a year I will get involved in an accident and injure someone or hit someone's car? And that's a very wrong mindset, because you can never tell what will happen. And just imagine the situation where you get into a major accident that costs someone his life, and then you are burdened with that financial bill because you don't have third-party insurance. Then you'll be personally liable. So a great way to shift the mindset of drivers from viewing this as just another requirement rather than a valuable tool, first of all, would be to sensitize them by public education and awareness campaigns such as this, and also taking it down to the grassroots, because obviously many drivers might not be able to join these kinds of sessions, but we have our driver acquisition team, our driver supervisors, some of them are even here on this call, and they will take this message down to the drivers and to the drivers' unions. So that's one of the very great ways to ensure that drivers are in compliance. Another way as well is for ride-hailing companies to collaborate with policymakers and insurers to provide situations that cater specifically to the industry. I actually have some questions which I'm going to ask our Coronation Insurance Company representatives here, and also the police, because I know that generally insurance classify vehicles as either private or commercial use. But for ride hailing, we have a very peculiar situation, because many of these vehicles are for mixed use. The owners of these vehicles on our apps use them for their private reasons, and then they also use them for commercial purposes. So they are different from like the purely traditional taxis, which are purely for commercial purposes. So how can they be protected if maybe they registered their third-party insurance as a private vehicle and they get into an accident, you know, in the course of carrying out their services on a ride-hailing app? You know, we have to be able to create products that specifically target them, and also to create affordable insurance packages which the drivers will be happy to subscribe to, because for many of them as well, the cost is a concern, and they just feel like, oh, this is another financial requirement for something that might not personally benefit me. But as long as we educate them on the financial implications, the legal risks of the fines, imprisonment, possible impoundment of the vehicles, and now that the police is going on a wider enforcement drive, I think this will help them to change their mindset eventually. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne, for doing justice to that. I think it's more about us educating our drivers to see the importance. It's not just a regulation, but the importance of having it is for their own benefit, and also other, road users, that they meet along the line. I'm going to jump quickly to Mr. Felix. Okay, so I want to ask, a question. What are some of the biggest challenges vehicle owners in Ghana face when it comes to third-party motor insurance?
Okay, so when it comes to the challenges that motor...
Mr. Felix, your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when it comes to some of the challenges that vehicle owners faces in Ghana, I think some have been mentioned already. Mostly it's about awareness and understanding of the motor insurance policy. What are the covers? What are the limitations? What are the exclusions that they need to understand, so that whenever there's a claim, there won't be a tussle between the users of this vehicle and mostly the insurance companies. That is one. So it's very important for us to able to, go out there and educate them more on the coverages, the benefits of the insurance policies that we have. Another issue that we have, which is now being limited, is the fraud nature of some of the insurance policies that they buy. Some don't know about this, and then they are kind of involved in one or the other, buying insurance policies which are fraudulent. In Ghana now, what the National Insurance Commission is trying to do with that respect is to come up with a motor insurance database. So with the motor insurance database, all valid insurance policies are there, and this can be checked via a USD code, which is *92*57#. So if you have any motor insurance policy, you can just dial this USD code, and then you can verify the validity of your motor insurance policy. So I think basically these are some of the challenges that we face in our settings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. You have done so well. I'm going to quickly jump back to Mr. Akinwale. I hope he's still here with us. Please unmute your mic. So, Mr. Akinwale, are there protocols for involving insurance directly to facilitate repairs for victims, particularly when the at-fault driver is uncooperative? Now, how can law enforcement better support a smoother claim process? This question is for our keynote speaker, Mr. Akinwale. He's still here. Thank you. Mr. Akinwale, are you here? Okay. If he's not here, then I'm just probably going to go to my next question. So I'm going to be calling back Mr. Uko. Mr. Uko, I want you to just in 1 minute or two, fake and expired third-party insurance policies are a growing concern, not just Nigeria. Mr. Felix has also mentioned that that's an issue also in Ghana. So it's not just peculiar to us, it's just peculiar to some other African countries. Now, how does the FRSC verify the authenticity of any motor insurance during routine checks? How do they check? How do they know this is real and this is fake? And how can people also know where to get the right one so that they don't even fall into the hands of buying a fake one? And then what steps are being taken to prevent motorists from using fraudulent and expired policies, which of course is protecting them and others. So when they have fake, it's a big issue. What is FRSC doing in this regard?
All right, thank you very much. Once during routine checks and a motorist is flagged down, and usually during targeted operations targeted at checking authenticity of policies used by motorists, we fall back on the regulatory body, that is the Nigerian insurance industry. They have a website, www.askniid.org. You key in the policy and then you get the details whether it is fake or not. And once that is ascertained, we ensure that the vehicle is impounded, because the man who is driving with a fake policy or who doesn't have a policy at all is a risk on the road, is endangering a whole lot of other people, not just himself, on the road. So we try as much as possible to keep them off the road. Then at strategic levels also, the Corps has tried as much as possible to interface with the regulatory body and then bringing in the operators, that is insurance companies, with a bid to ensuring that those who are not accredited are identified and then shown the way out, or possibly face prosecution because they are hampering seamless operations of traffic management. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oko. So I'm going to be jumping on quickly to Mr. Charles. And, we've been talking a lot about insurance policies, right? And the processes, the administration and claim. Hit and run incidents often leave victims without immediate recourse. Now, how does Coronation third-party motor insurance address this issue? Now, what are some of the most common misconceptions customers have about third-party motor insurance? And how does Coronation Insurance address all these issues just to keep their mind again at peace? Mr. Charles, the question is for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Linda. I will start by answering the last questions. The common misconception, which is as Mr. Oko alluded to earlier, the common misconception is insurance companies, do they really pay claims? Does insurance work? I mean, a lot of people do not even know that with their third-party insurance, they can get the third-party victims to repair their vehicles and replace the accident, damaged property, and so on. So when people have that misconception, it tends to bring non-accountability. They don't tend to take account. They don't tend to take account for their actions, which rarely brings the issue of hit and run. So if you observe, I have attempted to answer your question from the very last one. So belief in insurance, believe that it works. And let me just give some figures here now. In 2024, this last year, we paid claims in excess of 4 billion. So these claims we pay, they are to the general public. So the people need to be aware that insurance really and truly works. And when they know it works, it's now cause for accountability. When these mistakes happen on the road, when you're driving your vehicles on the road, and then you hit somebody, you damage a property, you injured somebody, instead of attempting to run away, I imagine when such a case happen, one, the police might be after such a person when the accident occurs and then he's trying to run away. The mob, angry mobs might be chasing the person as well. So I imagine the person trying to run away, is exposed to another form of risks because at that point he is not coordinated. So belief in the insurance company, knowing fully well that it works, will help people take account for become accountable for their actions, and then to reduce this hit and run accidents, incidents that we have on our roads. To further give us more figures, in 2024, we are paid 4.8 billion. In 2022, we paid above 3 billion. In 2023, we paid 3.7. So insurance companies really do pay claims. So people should know that if they have valid, I emphasize valid insurance covers certificate for their third-party insurances, it will go a long way in, putting in confidence in people. And then the example that you earlier mentioned, that will be our case. It will not be a case of speaking grammar, trying to run away. When you know that your vehicle is covered, all you simply need to do is exchange contact and then approach the issue with ease, knowing fully well that your peace of mind that we have promised you is going to be fulfilled at the time of accident. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, for making this very easy. You mentioned something about being mobbed, and that was the case of my dad 2 years ago in Festac, where he had an incident with an Okada or a bike rider. And before you would say the Nigerian term, Jack Robinson, it was something else. The guys had come out already. They were already putting down his tire. It was a guy who knew my brother that was able to run to my dad, help him, tell them he's going to pay and all that. It would have been another very terrible case. And this is a real life incident that have occurred for me. And I think that people should learn to understand that it's not about fighting, but about solving it. And this enlightenment can be solved in one day. I think it's something we should do more and more often till the person on the street understands that his insurance coverage is something else. I want to ask you one question before I jump to the next. Is there a real life incident that you can share how Coronation has sorted, a claim for someone and just made their life very easy? And then I'll jump to Marian. Thank you.
Okay, so there was this guy, one of our insured, so he was involved in an accident, and then luckily he got my number, and I was like, he was involved in an accident, and then he hit somebody else. I said, what is the kind of cover you have purchased? Luckily, he has a third-party insurance from Coronation. And then I said, okay, you know what? Get this, and get this document. He was surprised. And I was like, does it really work? I said, yes, it does. And the thing about claim is, that is when you can really feel what you have bought. Buying insurance, you're buying a promise. But when the claim happens, it becomes kind of tangible to feel it. So when eventually when we paid we settled the third party victim in this case, he was very surprised. And in his words, he said, I will really make noise about this. So, you know, there are other cases like that. We treated a case like that, and then it was involved, this involved a bodily injury, you know. The person was injured in her leg. And then I will not go into details, but insurance came in. We took the place of the insured. We took up the liability. We took up the problem. We initially exchanged his trauma with peace of mind. Do you understand in this case? And then we settled the lady with the injured leg. We have other cases too. There was a woman that she ran into people at the bus stop. She injured about 4 or 5 third parties. I mean, it was a terrible incident, but we stepped in, and till tomorrow, the woman is grateful for having an insurance policy in place. So the benefits are tremendous. The benefits are, you know, unlimited. But we advise everyone out there to, you know, get it beyond police chasing us, beyond trying to fulfill the requirement. It is also very important that people get third-party insurance, at the very least, third-party insurance, to ensure that when occurrences happen, they don't have that fear, that trauma, and that devastating experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. You can imagine if that lady had to pay the medical bills for almost 4 or 5 people plus her car. She probably wouldn't be able to afford that, and the lives of those people would have been at bigger danger and risk because she couldn't pay their hospital bills. Thank you so much for sharing this experience. I hope that 1 or 2 people out there are also gaining from this, your insight and knowledge. I'm going to jump quickly to Mary Ann. So, you know, ride-hailing drivers spend significantly more time on the road than the average motorist. Now, navigating congested roads, tight schedules, and unpredictable passengers. Now, does this increased exposure make them more likely to be victims of accidents, or are they more frequently at fault? What are the biggest road-related risks they face, and how can third-party motor insurance at least help to protect them? The question is for Marianne.
Thank you very much for your question, Linda. So yes, you're right that ride-hailing drivers actually spend a lot more time on the road than the average motorist. Many of us, if we get into our vehicles, we're just driving either to work and back, or to your church, your mosque, maybe to visit a few friends and family, or to run some errands or go shopping. That's the average amount of time that we spend on the road. But the same way we spend 9 hours or 10 hours at work is the same way drivers spend 9 hours or even more. So some of them even work as much as 12 hours in a day, though we don't advise that. They spend all that time on the road. So this definitely puts them at a higher risk. Another issue as well is the fact that, you know, many of these drivers are operating under pressure. First of all, they're operating under the pressure of demands from passengers. The passenger is calling them, where are you, trying to describe the route to them, you know, you're not getting the address, and many of them are speeding or trying to get to a waiting passenger. Another reason as well is that many of them do not own their vehicles. They have these vehicles under some form of hire purchase agreement, and they have an arrangement to make specific returns every week or every month to the owner of these vehicles. So this puts them at risk because they work several hours to meet up with these demands. So definitely they're spending more time on the road, and we see an increase in risky behavior of drivers as a result of this. Many times they are the offenders and not even the victims, and this puts them at a huge risk. You know, I've had incidents, not even on our app, but like just in my personal life, of where a driver that I know, a private driver, hit a passenger. The person ended up being hospitalized, and then from the hospital, eventually the person that was hit died. And the driver had to spend a little time in jail. And that's just because of the ignorance of the protection that's available to you under third-party insurance. because third-party insurance covers both accidents, injuries, even compensation for death. And if he had the knowledge of this, he wouldn't have spent that time in prison. And the person that was hit was just like a menial worker, like a wheelbarrow pusher. And if you could offer the person's family just some millions of naira as compensation from the insurance company, they would have put it to rest. But they were very agitated and ensured that like the driver went to prison for some time because of that. So it's very important that drivers who are at risk of being perpetual offenders by virtue of the large amount of time that they spend on the road, they're aware of the protection that's available to them under third-party insurance. You know, the financial protection, the legal protection, the peace of mind, as we keep on saying, that peace of mind that, you know, I have a backing. If I hit anybody, if anything happens on the road, I don't have to speak too much English. I would just come down, you know, exchange my information of my insurer with you and say, oh, we're going to get this sorted out. Instead of us exchanging blows, let's exchange our insurer's information and get this sorted out. So it's very important that drivers who are at the highest risk of being offenders or victims are aware of these protections that are available to them under third-party insurance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think there's one key word that you said, you know, the word when you use in Nigeria, I get backing. I think that should be the slogan for Coronation, saying that if you do have a Coronation insurance, you have a very perfect backing. Don't fight, don't stress, but we've got you covered. Everything will be fine. Mary, I have one, question for you quickly, while you were speaking. Are there existing policies or industry partnerships that provide better insurance access and protection for ride-hailing drivers? How can platforms like InDrive work with the insurance companies and regulators to just improve this coverage and compliance? You have 2 minutes, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Lee. So currently, we don't have many existing industry partnerships, that provide this insurance coverage or protection for drivers. And it's very important that we start to foster these partnerships, especially in the wake of this new enforcement drive, that is being commenced by the police. And like I mentioned earlier, the issue of there being this classification of private and commercial use of vehicles, it's very important that we as ride-hailing companies, the insurers and the policymakers, sit down and come up with some form of hybrid insurance model that covers vehicles that are being used for dual activities, which is private and commercial. And another very important thing as well is, verifying the authenticity of insurance documents. I was very happy to hear of the innovations that they have in Ghana, that you can just easily check this with a USSD code. And I was also happy to hear as well that the FRSC has a means of checking this, because InDrive has a very rigorous and thorough driver verification process at the onboarding stage. We ensure that all our drivers have all the necessary documents, that they need to be legally compliant to operate on the road. But where we have an issue is ensuring, continuous compliance along the line. So where the driver is onboarded at the onboarding stage, I know that you have your insurance documents now, but how do I know that you've renewed your documents next year when I've already onboarded you? So if we could have some form of real-time verification and integration between the insurers and the ride-hailing app, where we can constantly verify documents, ensure that drivers are compliant, ensure that they're accurately renewing their papers and, their insurance documents as and at when due, because many drivers will just come, they will ensure their documents are all intact right now that I'm trying to get into the system, and then next year they just let it slide. So it's important that we have that, cohesive collaboration between us and the insurance companies to ensure that we can constantly verify these documents and ensure that the drivers are in compliance, and ensure that both drivers, passengers, and the third parties on the road as well are protected.
Thank you very much, Mary Ann. So I have one question before I go to the questions from my audience, and just to make sure that you guys are at ease, I have over 35 questions from the audience already today. So my final question from our introductions and our discussion so far, Mr. Felix, could you just quickly share a success story where Coronation Insurance Ghana effectively resolved a complex third-party motor insurance claim, ensuring that customer was extremely absolutely satisfied. You have 1 minute or two, and then we'll go to the questions from the audience. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a lot of such incidents to share with the team. Currently, there's one that we just sorted for the client. The client was involved in an accident, get a third party injured. But as we all have been saying, that most people don't even know that they can go to their insurers for some of this protection. This client wanted to sort it out, compensate the injured person on his own. It got worse, and then he was took to the court. When he gets to the court, that was when he was informed to contact his insurers so that we'll be able to come in and help. So when we get notice of it, we quickly contact our lawyers. We were able to contact the injured person and also the insured, and we're able to settle this case out of court. So the court processes, the delay that it will go through, the cost involved that our insured would have paid if he was doing it on his own, were all catered for by Coronation Insurance. But I just wanted to add one issue that I think we all mix during this presentation. We talk about the hit and run vehicles. So mostly if a car is being hit, you are hit and run by a car, which probably you don't have the details of the vehicle, and then the insurance company that you can contact, it will be difficult for the injured person to get compensation. In Ghana, we have established the Motor Compensation Fund for such incident. So if you are being hit by a vehicle and the vehicle ran off and you don't know these details, you can contact the Motor Compensation Fund so that they can reimburse or compensate you adequately. Also, one issue that we didn't mention is about third-party protections outside the jurisdiction. So for Ghana and for Nigeria, if you want to use your vehicle outside Ghana or outside Nigeria, within the ECOWAS state, what are the protection for your vehicle? So in Ghana here, when you buy a motor third-party insurance, you have an ECOWAS peril covered. So if you move your vehicle from Ghana to, let's say, Burkina Faso or to Nigeria, you are being covered for all these liabilities that are associated with your vehicle. So it's something that we all have to take note of that and know that even if you are outside your jurisdiction, whether Ghana or Nigeria, the motor third-party policy can cover you whilst you are outside Ghana or Nigeria to the West African state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I never knew that at all, Mr. Felix. Thanks for highlighting that. That's very, very informative. So you don't have to stress once you have an insurance coverage and you move, that's covered. Thank you. I'm going to invite quickly Mr. Olamide, if that's fine. You would like to add one or two things to the amazing, ideas and, thoughts that we've had for over an hour, just to, share something with us. Mr. Olamide, are you ready?
Thank you. Thank you, Linda, and thank you to the panelists. It's been a wonderful discussion so far. I've listened to a number of points raised, and I just want to clarify a couple of things that have been said in course of our discussion. So let me take it from Felix last talk. Currently in Nigeria, and in the, there's an Insurance Act 2025 or 2024 that has been proposed by the National Assembly. It's been signed by the House of Rep. We expect that to go to the Senate and the President will assent. So this fund that is set aside is part of what is already in the incoming legislation. So Insurance Act. So the insurance company set aside 0.25% of the gross written premium, and that will be set aside in case of hit and run and other. Even when some insurance companies are unable to fulfill their obligations to their insured, whether due to bankruptcy or insolvency. That's where the NICOM or the government will take that fund to offset all these liabilities. So it's been proposed in the act coming up. Now, back to the regulations. The general perception is because police have started enforcing third party is new. It's never new. The Road Traffic Act of 1945 has always been there, which mandates anybody that wants to vehicle on the road, on the public road, must have valid insurance to safeguard them against third party. People just conveniently ignore that and put their vehicles on the road. Probably it's easy for them to get, I'll call it fixed certificates, and then put vehicles on the road. So that's why we've seen it. It's not a new law. It's just because the police started enforcing it 1st February 2025. That's why you see people on the It's always been there. And the insurance has even made it very easy for us to purchase insurance products. Well, I've heard about confusion recently. We have comprehensive. Comprehensive does not cover third party. No, that's not the way it works. The basic one, according to the law, is third party motor insurance. So every motor is expected to have that, the basic. And the premium for this is just 15,000 naira. Now, and you know, I've heard about Okadas, tricycles. They have insurance cover as well. The insurance cover for a motorcycle is 3,000 naira from a genuine insurance company. For tricycle is 5,000 naira. So they all have insurance. So if a tricycle should hit another motorist, instead of being again going back and forth, they actually have a valid insurance. If they do insurance, they have a valid insurance they can claim. It's just a matter of reaching out to the insurance company. And then for the third party property damage, for the comprehensive, for the one we are talking about, the basic one, 15,000 naira, the third party property damage limit is 3 million naira. So you do insurance for 15,000 naira, you hit another somebody's vehicle and then insurance company will paying up to 3 million naira. And for the, we have different categories of motor vehicles. You have third party, 15,000. Then you have the school buses and the own goods. So people put their pickups on the road to go and be doing their business. It's 20,000 naira. And for trucks, heavy duty trucks, is 100,000 naira for the third party. So, and then the limit for that one, the third party limit is 5 million naira. Now, we're even talking about the third party property damage. What we can't even quantify is bodily injury or death. And according to the law, it is unlimited because they can't quantify somebody's death. It's unlimited. So what insurance company do is to come in, and when a motorist with somebody like case Charles cited, why they reach out to Charles is for us to take over the negotiation. So what we do is we get our adjusters or we get our investigator, they investigate the case and then discuss with the family. They agree and we pay off. So sometimes I see people running away when there's an accident because they feel, how will I handle this case? It's very easy. Just reach out to the insurance company. Leave the negotiation to the insurance company. Now, for the comprehensive aspect, so on the 3 types of insurance, like I said, third-party motor insurance, then you have the next one, which is third-party fire and theft. So, and then that's an extension of the third-party motor insurance to cover the theft and fire incident to the vehicle. We've seen instances. One guy woke up in the morning and his vehicles were totally burnt. And the fire started from the engine. I think the wires of the battery, got intertwined together and they ignited. And when he woke up, the engine was gone. So that's why you have the third party fire and theft. And then the comprehensive one is the last one is the comprehensive one. It encompasses the third party fire and theft, and the own damage. So when there's a damage to the owners of the vehicle, his own vehicle. So why the law protects motorists, the third party motorists, the insurance cover covers the damage to the person's vehicle as well. So it's a comprehensive cover. And that's the one we're talking about, the 5% of the value of the vehicle. So in everything we've seen, insurance company as an industry has come out to ensure that we have covers for every risk, every 3 risks and things that could happen to a vehicle. So that is that for them. Then in terms of the cost and benefit, which I already explained, the benefits are immense. But what I've seen from my own experience is, how do you make claims? And that's the main thing though. So people just believe they have insurance. Then when something happens, they're already panicking. Now, how do you know you have a valid insurance? You have NID. That's what we are working with FRS and police. You can go there and check the validity of your insurance certificates. Then also, we have the list of all the valid insurance companies in Nigeria. So I've seen XYZ insurance company. If you go to the list of insurance companies, you know the valid ones. So for someone that just nearly bought a vehicle and they bring their certificate to them at home, just check. Go to the list of registered insurance company in Nigeria. You know whether your certificate is valid or not. So it's very easy to check the validity of insurance certificate that you are holding. And that's the most important thing. For any motorist that have a valid insurance certificate, I can assure you 150% insurance company will pay the claim. I think it's good for us to clarify all those points. And then back to Marianne, she has a question for the Uber drivers. I believe for Uber drivers, even though the law says basic is third party, but because of the nature of their trade, always on the road, so you have to be comprehensive, because that's a source of livelihood. So why you can take care of what happened to their own vehicles if it's damaged? So that's why they have to do comprehensive. So I always advocate. We have a couple of them in our books. I always advocate for them to do comprehensive. And then when you do all this Uber and Bolt and Taxify, the number insurance that they have for is comprehensive. The danger is that sometimes people don't track their renewal dates. So when the vehicle falls due for renewal, they don't even know. So what we do at Coronation is we have about 3 different teams that initiate renewal process 2 months before. We send mails, customer experience center will be making phone calls to clients. So 6 weeks before your renewal, you will be sensitizing your renewal is due. So very few of them falls through and they don't do insurance. Basically because they don't want to renew, or not because they are not being prompted by the insurance company. I think it's very good that we clarify some of these points. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lamide. You've answered about 10 of the questions already from the audience. So, like, you've just made my work extremely very easy and spot on. Someone asked about theft, the different levels, what they cover, the amounts, how much you have to pay, how do you claim. A lot of questions have been answered by this, your few minutes of explanation. Thank you so much, sir. It shows your amazing wealth of knowledge. Thank you. I don't know if Marianne wants to ask the question quickly. I have just a few minutes left. I want to take one question each from the audience to my panelists, and then we're going to wrap up quickly so that we still end up in time. For my audiences, please, if you do have questions, you can follow us across our social media handles and ask the questions. You can send your details here. They will see your email and share this recording with you. It will also be on YouTube for you to go back and listen. And then you can ask them questions on social media and they'll have the experts actually answer those questions for you if I do not take all of them within the next 10 minutes. Marianne, do you want to ask your question or do I go to the question from the audience or people listening? Do you still want to ask?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, the point I mentioned earlier, that if a driver has the insurance coverage as being a private vehicle and not for commercial use, does that preclude him from claiming any form of, compensation or relief if he gets into an accident in the course of carrying out commercial activities?
Okay, so from insurance perspective, we able to identify if the vehicle is commercial or private from the vehicle license. So what we see is we don't know the person is into the riding business. We only know from the certificates he brings to us and we issue insurance. Irrespective of that fact, in as much as he has a valid insurance with him, any claim that arises from his operation will be covered by insurance company. Now, and then the next level, like I said earlier on, I'm sure your Uber, the A rider will not do third party because he wants to protect his vehicle. So he's going to go for comprehensive, which is 5%. So whether third party, whether private or commercial is 5%. So anything that arises from his operations, with damage, injury or death to third party or damage to his own vehicle is fully covered.
Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olamide. Thank you very much, Marianne. Okay, so my first question, quickly, I will want each of the panelists to just run or just answer the questions in a minute so I can take as many as possible that I can. The first question is for Mr. Akinwale. Please, are there loopholes in Nigeria's third-party insurance laws that allows motorists to evade purchasing bad policies? Is Mr. Akinwale still here? And I think someone also mentioned quickly, I'm going to just jump to question 2 for you also. You said, Mr. Akinwale, you mentioned that police is involved in the claim process. Is it optional because in some cases they are not involved? Also, you said that the fee is between 5 to 15K. I thought NICOM approved only 15K. I think Mr. Olamide answered that question when he explained 3K for bike riders, 5K for keke guys, that's the tricycle, and then 15K for motor. I think he answered and he broke that. I also didn't know that even the tricycle guys could be covered. Now I am aware that they also should take up the insurance policy. Mr. Akinwale, are you there to answer these two questions quickly? I will try as much as possible to take one question each from the audience, and I will welcome Mr. Yon, who will be taking my closing remarks before we call it a day. It has been an amazing session so far. Thank you for staying with me till the very end. I'm really very grateful. I can't hear anything from Mr. Akinwale, so let me jump quickly to the next question. Okay, are you there?
Yes,
sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, you have 1 minute, please.
Yes,
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, so with the present enforcement directive by the Nigerian police, there are no loopholes, I would say, because we are all over the country, and from the IG's office down to the DPO and to the outstations, we are on the road to ensure to enforce these compliance by motorists. So I won't say there are loopholes from our own ends as it is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm jumping quickly to Mr. Charles. I will give you two questions also. First one, a company that has a third-party cover on their fleet of vehicles and there is an accident between two of the company vehicles, is this covered or not? If not, why? And the second question for you, Mr. Charles, also is why is it always difficult to get a police report to the extent of making a financial commitment before the police can release a police report for you? I also need clarity if it is free or paid for. Thank you. I don't know if Charles can answer this police question too. We're going to give it to Mr. Oko, but I have two questions quickly just to maximize time. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. So for the second question, as regards the police issuance and if there are commitments to be made, I think we have the best person in position to answer that question. So to the question of when a company has fleets of vehicles and then both of them, I mean, one had hit one vehicle and then they're asking if it's covered. So the first question is, was there an insurance policy in place? I assume that, or I imagine that the accident would have happened out of negligence, mistake. So when a vehicle A hits vehicle B and they belong to the same person, the question is, are they both covered? If they are covered, okay, yes, let's begin to now look at how the accident happened and how we can establish negligence. So I believe Mr. Akinwale can take the question on the police report issuance, because I also am very interested in knowing how it works. And I mean, knowing how it works basically from hearing from the horse's mouth now in this case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Mr. Akinwale, if you are here, or Mr. Oko, then the question is just, I remember the last time I had an incident where I was robbed. The stress I went through for police report, I had to just go back home. I didn't still get it. It could be very stressful. So if there are ways that they can make it very easy and seamless for people to just get this report and that they're able to file to the insurance company, it will make the claim process easier for them to also, just make sure that they get claims when they have issues. Is Mr. Akinwale here or Mr. Oko? I think I'll have one more question before.
Mr. Akinwale, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Now, for this police report, we all know that police stations are available across the nation, and reports are supposed to go to the nearest police station where the incident happened, or accident, as the case may be. So at the point of entry into the police station, you ask of where, you meet the counter at the counter. And at the counter is just like the reception. They refer you to the admin, where at the counter level, they will obtain, they will give you give them a summary of what happened, and at the admin, they will give you that, they will type out the report comprehensively of what you have said, and the DPO will sign it and give you on the spot. I don't think, I think, you know, we need more, you know, more enlightenment to know that it is it's our duty as a police officer to give you this on the spot, knowing fully well the trauma you have gone through, you know, in the process of the accident or the incident. So there is no gainsaying that what you request for will be delayed, or they will be thinking there and there. So I think it is wise enough for you to walk through to the counter, and then the counter will refer you to the admin office where they will type the document for you, and you process your thing through the DPO signs it, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my final questions in 1 minute or two. I think this question can be answered by Mr. Charles or Mr. Olamide. Now, what will insurance companies do to the regular buyers of the third-party insurance that doesn't have accident for 3 years? The next one is, what is the actual amount chargeable as fine in case of defaulting according to the law? So what's the fine if you don't have, I think that question will be back again for Mr. Akinwale, a lot of questions for you today. If you don't have a valid insurance, what is the fine? But let me take Mr. Olamide first. What will insurance companies do to the regular buyers free of third-party insurance that hasn't had any accident for 3 years or 5 years? Is there anything to compensate them since they're not claiming and all that?
That's a very valid question. I'm glad I'm being given the opportunity to explain something here. If you go back to the root of insurance, when marine insurance in 1906, is to the essence of insurance to pay for the misfortune of the few from the pool. So it's expected that a lot of people will contribute to a pool. So let's say we have 15,000, we are paying 15,000 for third party, and we have 100, or let's say 1,000 third parties, you know, that's about 50 million thereabouts. It's expected, the basic principle of insurance is expected that it's not everybody, all the 1,000 that will claim, very few will claim. So we see in a particular, so the larger the pool, the better for everybody. So you have a pool of, let's say, 10 million for that's the total fund. And then you have 1 or 2, or let's say about 10 top party, or let's say 100 will claim from it. Now, we are paying for the misfortune of the few from that pond. So if you have a pool and then you are paying for the misfortune, by the time you start doing bonanza, by returning money to the work, it will get to a stage that the reserve will not be sufficient to cover the risk, the claims coming from the other side. And that's where we also say insurance companies. So rather than being in that position, I want the insured to look at it from this perspective. Is more like a social, we are building a social net, security net. That's like a financial protection to cater for the misfortune of the fee from it. It's like, say you have a security guard and you are paying 100,000 every month. And you're not saying because thief does not come to your house, the guy should refund money back to you. But it doesn't work that way. But if things have come, will have after the damage, or they will have taken your things worth millions of naira. He has done his job. The insurance company have done their own job, providing that cover for you. And when claims come, they will pay. Because, see, just like we said, the top party is 15,000 naira. But the top party property damage limit is 3 million naira. So imagine you put your car on the road, you hit a third party, and then now with the price of things nowadays, for 3 million can't even cover anything, and then they might bring a claim of 2 million naira. That 15,000 naira we are looking at is part 3 to the 2 or 3 million naira we're going to pay. So that's the perspective I want motors to look at it from, you know, and it's very good that that is clear, because it's always a question. I mean, the question everybody keep asking, and it's good for us to clarify. Is a pool. Insurance is a pool, is a fund to pay for the misfortune of the few from that pond, from that pool of fund. So that's the concept of insurance. All right, Linda, I hope I've answered the question.
You have over answered the question. Really very good. And you know that sometimes some people, they'll be paying for insurance for like 10 years. Then the year they will not pay insurance. Have you heard that myth before? it happened to a friend of mine, has been paying insurance for 10 years. So after a while, he said, I've not had any problem. I don't have accident. That year he didn't pay was the year he now had an issue. And then you forget.
We actually have a client like that. She opened a shop selling conventional and some other merchandising, and then she did insurance for 5 years. 5 years. The ironically, our brother was even our staff then, and then brother, so your policy was due for renewal. I said no, I'll pay for 5 years. I was sure. No, just a month after, she didn't pay. A month after, the whole place was gutted by fire. She lost almost 5 million naira. That's the way insurance works. Even for corporate entities, I've seen a company that for 20 years, they did insurance and they were paying like average of like 20, 30 million. When the claim occurred on 22nd year, their claim was in excess of 6 billion naira. Yeah, that's the workings of insurance. And insurance company will come and pay. That's the essence of that pool of fund, that reserve I mentioned earlier.
It's very, very good. So I want to encourage people out there, please do not give up. Maybe you paid for insurance for 15 years and you haven't had any issue. Please keep paying. I don't want you to have an issue when the year that you then did pay is the year that something then happens. But what happens is, most times in some developed countries, if you haven't had accidents or issues, your insurance policy is lower than someone who is consistently having claims and accidents and all that, which I'm sure we're going to get to. Mr. Olamide, thank you very much for this. So my final question is going to Mr. Felix in Ghana. I would like you to buttress on this also. What happens, when you take insurance policy? What do you get? What is the law in Ghana if you don't have one? And if you'll be paying, what would you encourage somebody out there to keep doing? And then I will invite Mr. Yon for my closing remarks. Thank you so much.
So in Ghana, if you buy a motor insurance policy, you are covered for injuries. For private cars, it's up to 150,000 Ghana cedis. For commercials, it can go up to 700,000 Ghana cedis. But for the third-party property damage limit in Ghana is 8,000 Ghana cedis. Also in Ghana, the driver, though it's not a third party, there's a benefit of 7,000 Ghana cedis to cater for injuries. So that's what you are going to get when you buy insurance for Ghana. And also in case of you not having an insurance and then the law enforcement, that's the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police, get hold of you. There are penalties involved. You can be fined. You can go up to 1 million Ghana cedis. You can also be jailed for up to 1 year. And also your vehicle can be impounded. So yes, basically those are some of the penalties that if you don't have an insurance, you can face here in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix, and my amazing panelists. I couldn't have had this beautiful session without, your knowledge, your wealth of experience, your expertise, and bringing a balance between what the government policies, the rules, the insurance company, and of course, the wealth of knowledge from InDrive, Marianne. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to invite quickly Mr. Yon Adom Boateng to take the closing remarks. You have 2 minutes, if that's fine. I will give my vote of thanks and we'll call it a day. I have had an amazing time listening, learning, and unlearning from all the things that I thought that I knew that were wrong. And I'm sure I'm going to pass this message to everyone that gets to know that when you have a good insurance coverage policy, then you have backing. You can go to bed and sleep well, and you don't have any stress. Mr. Yon, are you ready for your closing remarks, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, that's good. Good afternoon to those of us in Nigeria, and in Ghana, we say good morning. I want to thank you all for the time you made this morning for the session. As we bring the session to a close, let me first begin by extending appreciation to all of you, especially our team, both in Ghana and Nigeria. Let me just share 2 thoughts before I dive deeper into the closing remarks briefly. So, to take note, that has to do the first one with a third-party property damage limit. My colleague in Ghana, Felix, made mention that there's a cap, there's a limit of 8,000 Ghana cedis. Now, we advise that clients should opt for an increase in the third-party property damage. This is because the prices of vehicles on our roads are very expensive. If you damage a simple bumper, the cost of fixing the bumper certainly will run beyond an amount of 8,000 Ghana cedis. So we want to advise our clients that it is important to at least opt for an increase in the third-party property damage limit. That means if you damage a third party's vehicle, the cost of fixing it will be, fixed up to the amount that you have increased it, say to about 20,000 Ghana cedis. The second point I want to make mention has to do with change of ownership. Most clients, when they buy vehicles and the policy or the insurance on the vehicle is still running, they are of the mindset that the policy is valid. We'd like to use this opportunity to educate our cherished clients that when you buy a vehicle from someone, the insurance automatically ceases. So even though the policy will still be running till expiry, technically, it does not become operative, simply because the new contract or the old contract was between the old owner of the vehicle and the insurance company, not you who have just bought the vehicle. So just a word of advice that anytime we buy a vehicle from someone, it's important that we effect insurance by ourselves and between ourselves as a new owner and the insurance company. Now, let me just throw this experience I had over 20 years ago. I think it was 2005 when I was an early young underwriter. There was a day a client walked into our office and he goes, "I want to buy insurance." And of course, at that time, being a young underwriter, I was more curious to find out what type of insurance this client really wanted. So I threw the question, "What type of insurance?" And guess his response? "I want the one that the police will not disturb me on the road." Simple. That was his response. "I just want the insurance that the police will not disturb me on the road." And I found it to be quite strange. You could tell clearly that the client was oblivious of the benefit of third-party insurance. And I give thanks to my panelists here for doing very great work. We've really gone deeper and established the benefit of the third-party insurance. It is not just for the police. There are benefits for us, the insured who buy the third-party insurance. So on that note, CSP Akinwale, thank you very much. You've done so much extensive, insight on the topic. CRC Uko, thank you as well. Charles, Marianne, and Felix, we are grateful for the insightful experiences, that you have shared with us this morning. So as we wrap up, I just want to encourage all of us who have gained this experience to apply it. It's about the application of the knowledge that we receive that makes a difference. And so reach out to Coronation anytime if you want us to support you in terms of more knowledge impacting. We are more than willing to do so. Let us go out there and ensure that we also communicate or spread the word. Those of us who have listened to this webinar and have gathered key insights, the duty is on us to also reach out to those who were not privileged to join us today, for us to also let them understand the benefit of third-party motor insurance. So on my own behalf and on behalf of my colleague MD Olamide, and from all of us at Coronation, we want to thank you for joining us this morning, and we look forward to your participation in our subsequent sessions. Thank you very much. Linda, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yon. Thank you very much. You've made my work very easy. Before we go, it's extremely very important that I tell you about the Insure and Win promo that is brought to you by Coronation Group. So if you want to take an insurance, you can actually insure and win. And we have over 30 million naira worth of prizes. Once you buy one insurance product, you actually stand a chance of winning prizes from generators to microwave fridges, gift vouchers, and a grand prize for a car. what can be better than winning a car in this 2025? Thank you very much for staying with us for the past 2 hours. I am extremely very grateful. I couldn't have done it without your participation and your knowledge. I've had a very good time really learning so much about insurance. I want to thank my Mr. Yon for actually thanking all my speakers, but I would like to thank them again. Mr. Kumale, thank you very much. Mr. Uko, Mr. Charles, Mary Ann, Mr. Felix from Ghana, and everyone that has listened for the past 2 hours. I hope it has been interesting, insightful, and also educative as it has been for me. I have learned so much just discussing with my amazing panelist and keynote speaker for the past 2 hours. I want to thank you so much for sparing me 2 hours of your beautiful time. I know you're very busy, you have lots of things to do, and you have stayed from start to finish. I thank you so much. I hope to see you again next time in the next webinar that we brought to you by Coronation Group and Coronation Insurance PLC. From time to time, we have different webinars discussing different topics, just for the process of making things easier for you to understand the benefits of having insurance or investment. Just follow us across our social media handles at Coronation Group, at Coronation Insurance, at Coronation Insurance Ghana. And if you do have questions, please feel free to DM us or send us a question. We would answer. For those of you who we couldn't take the questions, forgive us, we are sorry, we're short of time. Thank you for coming in, and you can actually watch a replay of this session on YouTube. For those of you who asked for, we'll take down your email addresses and we'll share the slides with you, and then we'll share the link for you to always watch. On that note, I want to say thank you for having me as your host. My name is still Linda, and I'll be signing out for today. Do have a very beautiful afternoon and a pleasant day. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lamide. Thank you.
Very much. Bye.
Linda, thank you.